What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rip City Rundown. Today we are going to be previewing the Eastern Conference Finals between the Heat and the Celtics. These teams met in 2020 in the Eastern Conference Finals as well in the bubble. As the Heat won that series, the Celtics hope to change the storylines this time. What jumps out to you in this series first?
First of all, I think the biggest storyline is going to be who's going to prove that they're alpha dog in the series. Is it going to be Jason Tatum? Is it going to be Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler proved a lot to me in the 76ers series. Offensively, he played a lot better than I thought he would. I know his defense is there. And Tatum proved a lot to me as well. I know he didn't get the points that he had, but in Game 6 on the road, scored 46. Second storyline I like. Little Grant Williams versus P.J. Tucker. They're kind of very similar players. Undersized forwards. Grant Williams with an incredible game, 10 for 22 from the field, 18 3-point attempted, 7 threes, 27 points in Game 7 against Milwaukee. Boston's a little more battle-tested at this point in the playoffs. You take down Giannis.
Personally, I think it's going to come down to the supporting cast. You know Tatum and Brown, and you know Bam and Butler are going to both do their work.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to, are we going to see Peyton Pritchard go off for 12 points? Are we going to see Tyler Hero have a 25-point explosion? Are we going to see Grant Williams hit 6 threes? Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to that. Both of these teams bring defense. They're both top 5 in defense this whole year. So it's going to be a grinded-out series. I expect low-scoring games, though.
I agree. Now, you mentioned they're both top 5 in defense. I know the Celtics had the number 1 or number 2 rated defense for a while, especially they have the Defensive Player of the Year in Marcus Smart. Who do you think has the edge defensively in this matchup, though? The Heat are not a bad defensive team by any measure.
I think the Heat actually have the advantage, given just the fact that just what we've seen them do to elite guards. You know, Trae Young had the worst stretch of his career in that Game 1 series, and then James Harden just getting so much slander for being terrible. He shot 2 shots in Game 6. Like, I know he's kind of a little bit washed compared to his Houston days, but he's still James Harden. He's still an all-star, and they absolutely shut him down. The thing is, the Celtics don't necessarily rely on a point guard. They've got Tatum, Brown, and Smart who can all facilitate, and this is the first time the Heat are playing a team that's got a wing as their best player in this playoffs.
That's very true. That's very true. I'm going to run through each facet of the teams, and you're going to give me who you have the edge. Just one word. Offensively, who has the best player? Tatum. Boston.
So Boston.
Defense. Team defense.
I would say Bam. I think Bam is more of an important defender than Marcus Smart.
Okay, so you're taking the Heat.
Taking the Heat, yeah.
Okay, coaching.
Heat.
Eric Spoelstra?
Yeah.
I agree. Home court. Heat, obviously. They have home court.
Yeah.
They are the number 1 seed.
I do take Celtics when they're at home, though. I think Celtics at home is more dangerous than Heat at home.
That's true.
That's just because TD Garden's a different animal.
Yeah, especially, I think the Celtics showed me a lot because they go on the road in Game 6 in Milwaukee. They get it done. Honestly, I can see the winner of this series winning it all. I know the West has the Warriors and the Mavericks after probably the demolishing. It's late fourth quarter right now, but they are destroying the Suns as we record this. But yeah, it's interesting because this is one of the most even series. I think the Heat sometimes are a little underrated in people's eyes just because they don't play a necessarily beautiful brand of basketball. They were the 1 seed, though, and they don't have a necessary star. I think Jimmy Butler's a star. I think he's the most underrated player in the league at this moment. So I think the Heat could surprise some people.
So what is your prediction?
My prediction. It's so tough. I'm not going to lie. I took Bucks in 7. I thought Bucks would beat the Celtics. Well. I took Heat in 6 against Philly. That worked out. I'm going to take the Celtics. I'm going to take the Celtics. I'm going to say they do it in 7. I'm going to say they go to Miami and win in 7. I think the Celtics gained so much confidence knocking off the defending champs. I know they didn't have Chris Middleton, but knocking off Giannis, who, by the way, had 25 and 20 and 9 and was still considered to have a bad game. I mean, Giannis is otherworldly. I think the Celtics get a lot of confidence from this. I think they're playing better basketball.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think the Celtics win. I don't think the Heat have faced a team that has different ways to score. I mean, I get the Sixers are a really good team, but James Harden's just not who James Harden used to be. And Embiid wasn't 100% that whole series. Mm-hmm. The Celtics just, to me, just feel like a team of destiny. Like, they've had possibly played the 2 favorites to win the finals, the 2 most talented teams in the league. And the Celtics have a star in Jason Tatum that you could argue is playing like the best player in the league right now.
That's true. So, last thing before we...
Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6. You think they get it done at home?
In 6.
I think Boston, just to elaborate, I think Boston is down 3-2. They win Game 6 at home. They go on the road, win it. But yeah, we're both taking Boston. Last thing, give me your main X factor and give me a sleeper X factor. So basically a star, or it can be like a Tyler Hero, and then like a low-key guy who could come out and maybe a role player at home who can steal you a game, a la Grant Williams in Game 7.
I think the main X factor of this series is going to be whoever's guarding Jason Tatum. I think that's probably going to be Jimmy Butler.
Interesting.
And I think they actually guard each other. I think it's going to come down to which of the stars has the most left in the tank come Game 5, Game 6, because they're going to be battling each other offensively and defensively. We saw Jason Tatum had more in the tank in round 1 against Kevin Durant. I think that's the same storyline in this series. I think the matchup, which it's obvious, but it's a big one. And for my underrated one, I'm going to say it's not technically underrated, but we haven't heard about him a lot in the playoffs. It's Kyle Lowry. He's kind of been in and out in the lineup.
Interesting.
Hurt here and there, but he's
kind of like
the most playoff experience in this whole series.
They're Marcus Smart in a way.
And if he's playing his game where he's having 9 assists a game, that's just another guy to worry about if you're the Celtics. So Kyle Lowry, if he's healthy, I think he's a huge X factor.
Interesting. For me, I'm going to probably have to say I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. I think whoever can support the star the most, and that would be Butler and Tatum, I think is going to win this team their series. I think Jaylen Brown is going to outplay Bam. And I think for underrated, I'm going to go with Al Horford, because I think Al Horford played a very good defense against Giannis. He kind of turned back the clock, and he's kind of going to have to do it again against Bam, although Bam's not as much as a threat on the offensive end as Giannis is. So I think a little bit of an easier job. And I think Horford will contain Bam, and that's where the main X factor, Jaylen Brown, will take over as a secondary star and basically kind of do what Chris Middleton did last year.
So we both have Celtics winning this series. I in 6.
I don't like it, but I'm going Celtics. They're hot. They beat
Team of Destiny.
They beat the Nets and the Bucks. That's 2 incredible wins against 2 incredible teams.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe for more NBA content all throughout this offseason, and we'll see you in the next video.